Hey everyone, and welcome to WDIM Plus, where today I'll be breaking down and looking for all the Easter eggs and references that you may have missed in the first episode of the new Dexter series, New Blood. This new miniseries picks up 10 years after the finale of Season 8 that saw Dexter escape Miami, but otherwise did not sit well with fans of the show. The creator of the original series, Clive Phillips, who had left the show during the show's 5th season, has returned to helm this revival, which will have 10 episodes in total and will be released weekly. This first episode sets the stage and lets us know what Dexter has been up to this past decade, while also setting into motion events that bring back the dark passenger that Dexter has always struggled with. Before I get into the episode, if you could leave a like on this video, I would really appreciate it, as it does help my video get out to more people. In case you do not remember how the show originally ended, here are some of the bullet points that directly relate to the characters we meet once again. First, Deborah Morgan appears on New Blood, but as a spiritual guide to Dexter because she was killed in the original series finale. She was shot by a serial killer known as the Brain Surgeon after Dexter had the opportunity to kill him but did not. This, along with many other events throughout the series, made Dexter believe that he is responsible for everyone around him dying, something that is touched on in this episode as well. Because of this, Dexter decides to leave his son Harrison with Hannah, his girlfriend at the time who is also a serial killer, and allows them to escape to Argentina. While this is happening, there's also a hurricane in Miami that provides enough distraction to allow Dexter to remove Deborah from life support so that he can bury her at sea and escape while faking his own death in the process. The final scene of the finale shows Dexter sitting in solitude in Oregon. This episode, titled Cold Snap, begins with Dexter on the hunt, but not like we have seen him do before. The song that is playing is The Passenger by Iggy Pop with David Bowie on backing vocals and piano, and is the first of many meaningful songs in this episode. This song is about a musician who feels like he is a passenger in his own life because of his nomadic lifestyle, which could be interpreted as how Dexter's dark passenger is feeling right now, as it is no longer able to take the wheel of Dexter's consciousness and instead is now just along for the ride. Dexter is unable to kill the deer, and it makes sense that Dexter is unable to hunt in this way because it does not adhere to the code that Dexter followed. Dexter only killed people that he felt deserved it, and hunting down and killing a deer in the woods would not seem to fit that code. The solitude of his home really accentuates the loss of the dark passenger in Dexter's life. In most episodes of Dexter, we hear the monologue of Dexter's voice as the dark passenger within the first few minutes, but here we hear nothing but the nature around him. But after he enters his house, we hear a woman's voice as Dexter looks at a calendar. The calendar states that it is December 2021, which is important because the dates are a bit wonky in this series, due to the inclusion of an older version of Dexter's son Harrison. The first series ended actually in 2013, which is 8 years ago, but in this episode, Dexter states that it has been 10 years since he has killed someone. Harrison was born between Season 3 and 4 of the 8th season show, and Season 4 was released in 2009. But if Dexter is saying that it has been 10 years since he last killed someone, then that could have affected when Harrison was born as well. So we could say that Harrison was born in 2007, which would make him around 15 in this episode. The voice we hear is that of Deborah, who is once again played by Jennifer Carpenter. Carpenter and Dexter star Michael C. Hall were married for a brief period during the filming of Dexter, but separated shortly after. It looks like since the loss of the dark passenger that Deborah has taken over as Dexter's Jiminy Cricket and keeps him on his routine as he struggles to fight his urge to kill. And we can see that he still does have this urge, as he is crossing off days on the calendar like an addict counting his days of sobriety. Dexter actually tried counseling many times on the show, and it almost always ended with him either killing the person or eventually killing someone else he met at the meeting. We see Dexter sharpening a blade and adding it to a kit of butcher knives, which we are led to believe are his tools, but we find out later are just tools he sharpened for a customer. This is a callback to the many kits that Dexter made during the series to help him deal with his victims, as well as the many times the show would subvert the audience's expectations with red herrings and false clues. As Dexter drives into town, we hear the song Burnin' For You by Blue Oyster Cult. This song is about a musician who has sold his soul and has conceded to give the devil his due, which in that case is partying to burn out the day and burn out the night, as he gets no happiness from anything else. Again, this is a metaphor for the current state of Dexter's dark passenger, as Dexter has now sold his soul for a normal life and does not give in to his urges. Because of this, the dark passenger does not get out, but is still trying to urge Dexter to give the devil its due. After Dexter is pulled over, we learn that he is involved with a police officer named Angela, played by Julia Jones. Dexter states his name is James Lindsay, or Jim for short. His alias is a callback to Jeff Lindsay, the writer that created Dexter in the novel Darkly Dreaming Dexter. This is not the first time we have seen Dexter use an alias that referenced someone else, as in the first season it was revealed that Dexter ordered the drugs he used on his victims under the name Patrick Bateman, the name of the possible serial killer in the story American Psycho. The next song we hear is King of a One-Horse Town by Dan Auerbach, which is a song about a man who is bored and living lonely in a small town. One of the lyrics is "The snow covers up the ground and I can't hear a single sound," which again is how the Dark Passenger must be feeling at this point. It's as if the Dark Passenger is somehow communicating with Dexter through the music he hears instead of directly speaking. We then see Dexter pick up donuts for his coworker at the fish and game store that he now works at. Even in his new life, there are many similarities to the life that Dexter had built in Miami, as he works close to knives and other hunting weapons due to his affinity for them, which is similar to how he became a blood spatter analyst due to his infatuation with blood. Besides also buying donuts for his coworkers, something he did at the police station to appear normal, he even sits down and spins around in his chair just like he did on the original series. His boss states that he does not know what he would do without him after he receives his pastry, which is something that Camilla Figg would also say to Dexter after he visited her in the records office. Dexter then goes to see his girlfriend at the police station after a tense situation with a local rich kid at his work. The dispatch person, Esther, is an amputee, and including her may be a callback to the ice truck killer who was Dexter's brother and the main antagonist of the first season. Under the alias Rudy Cooper, he was a prosthesist who killed women, cut them up, and set them for display. This was due to the trauma of seeing his mother dismembered by a chainsaw, which he witnessed with Dexter. Their mother would color her fingernails different colors, and there are Christmas lights in the police station that match the colors of her fingernails, and the lamp that Esther has on her desk has jewels with the same colors. While at the station, we see that there may be a serial killer in the area that is tied to missing women, but no bodies have been found yet. This may be tied to the supposed main antagonist of the season, Kurt Caldwell, who will be played by Clancy Brown. We do not see him in this episode, but his son Matt is, and because of what Dexter does to Matt a bit later, this will no doubt bring the two characters into conflict. After once again Dexter stalks but is unable to kill the white deer, he returns to his house and throws a slab of ham on a pan. In the original Dexter intro, which is generally regarded as one of the best show intros ever created, we also saw Dexter cut and eat a piece of ham. He is discussing his routine with Deb, which is interesting because the fact that he's engaging in an activity which we saw him do during the original series may be a hint that he is falling back into his old routine at this point. As Dexter tries to resume his routine, the song "Haunted When the Minutes Drag" by the band Love and Rockets is heard. Again, this song acts as a metaphor for the emerging Dark Passenger, as this song is about someone haunted by the memory of someone else and everything they do, which is definitely how Dexter is feeling about his Dark Passenger at this point. After learning that Matt was the cause of a boat accident that killed 5 people and injured others, Dexter returns home to find Harrison. While Dexter's first instinct is to embrace his son, the ghost of Deborah appears and reminds him that they are in solitude because everyone around him that he has cared for has died because of him. As I mentioned, within the timeline given on the series, Harrison should be around 15 but does look older, and the actor who plays him, Jack Alcott, is in his 20s. So hopefully, the show will state what Harrison's actual age is supposed to be. After this meeting, Dexter has a dream where he's on the lake ice fishing and is startled by the ghost of Deb coming through the ice, as she is then brought back down underneath it by another figure. I think that this figure is the personification of the Dark Passenger, and by pulling Deb back under the ice, it is asserting control over Dexter at this point. The next day, Dexter is able to approach the white deer, but this meeting is interrupted by a shot from Matt, who almost hits Dexter in the process. I believe that this white deer is supposed to signify innocence, and the innocence that Dexter lost as a child that has prevented him from having a happy life without homicidal urges. The color white is often associated with things that are pure and innocent, and just like Dexter's innocence was taken from him quickly in a violent act, the deer is killed just as Dexter is able to appreciate it. This act provides Dexter with enough evidence to make Matt his first victim in a decade, as he brings him back to his shed after knocking him out. After this happens, for the first time in the episode, we hear the inner monologue of Dexter as the Dark Passenger is finally able to re-emerge. He sets up his shed to look like one of his kill rooms from the past, which suggests that he kept all the supplies around, either consciously or subconsciously, because he knew he would kill again. The one thing he does not have are his slides, which he used to collect trophies of his victim with on the original series. After he kills Matt, he even decides not to keep a trophy, which signifies that Dexter has evolved in some way. He also says the words "tonight's the night" to himself after the kill, which were the first words we heard in the pilot episode. As he leaves with a chopped up body, we hear the ghost of Deborah ask Dexter what the F he is doing, to which he responds, "Not listening to you." First of all, this is the first time in the episode we hear Deborah swear, which has to be a record for her since she swore more than any other character on the series. Also, when Dexter responds to her, he responds with his inner monologue instead of speaking directly to her, and earlier in the episode, we saw him speak to her as if she were there. So in this last instance, it seems that instead of Dexter, the Dark Passenger is responding to Deborah. Matt does warn Dexter that his father is very powerful and will find him. This conversation does nothing to help save Matt, but it does make Dexter realize that if he abandons Harrison, he would be no better than Matt's father. Instead, Dexter resolves to be like Harry to Harrison and finds him at the bus station before he's able to leave. This act is really the first in what should be many that resolve some of the issues with the original finale. Since in the finale, Dexter left Harrison because he thought his son would be better without him, but now he is ignoring this instinct and becoming a father to his son. Given Dexter's past, this makes a lot more sense, and it gives me a lot of hope for what else this miniseries will be able to fix about the original ending of Dexter. Well, that was everything I was able to find in this first episode, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed it, and I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?